Citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the City Council. Remarks should be directed to the City Council as a whole and limited to 5 minutes or less. Thank you, everybody, for being here for citizens' comment. Please, a couple of rules of engagement here. When you come to the podium, please give your name and address. And then you're limited to 5 minutes. But also, as you all have seen how I run my council meetings, that we don't need, keep the emotion and applause and all that for when we're outside in here. That just helps us get along, because also there's several groups here, and if you have a spokesperson for your group, we would greatly appreciate that person comes up and speaks for you, and then we can conclude our meeting. But thank you very much. Ma'am, yes.
She looks like a spokesperson.
She does. Thank you. Krista Jones, 8150 Bald Eagle Road, Jones, Oklahoma. And Councilman Moore is my Ward 2 councilperson. And Mayor and Council and Mr. Stevens and Mr. Murdoch and Ms. Covell. It is so nice to be here and be afforded an opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm with the Edmond Democratic Women, and we wrote a statement last Thursday night of support for Mayor Davis's proclamation of the designation of June 2021 as Pride Month. The Edmond Democratic Women Board passed unanimously the following statement. The Edmond Democratic Women, representing 351, which is 10 more than what we had Friday morning, based on our support of your all's proclamation, stand in support of Mayor Davis and the mayoral proclamation designating June 2021 Pride Month, and that we support diversity and stand in recognition of the contributions of LGBTQ plus community, and we do strive to actively promote the principles of equality and liberty for all. We believe all citizens should be able to live in a safe and civil society, and that we have an obligation to do what we can to ensure that for future generations. So thank you for your support and your courage in doing what you did. And it's a month and a half late, but we are still here for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please. Anyone else?
Please.
Yes. Thank you.
My name is Aaron Edwards. I'm a 17-year resident of Edmond. I live at 1905 Thunderbird Boulevard. And my pronouns are he and him. And I'd like to thank the City Council and you, Mayor, for the opportunity to address you. And I'm going to go back to June as well. I'm sorry I wasn't in this chamber in June to thank you for the proclamation of the LGBTQIA Pride Month in Edmond. I thank you for finally acknowledging my friends and family in the LGBTQIA plus and the Two-Spirit community. And I'm sorry for the backlash that you have endured and I've seen. But I'm encouraged and energized by what I see here today. I'm saddened by the ugliness that I've seen directed at this council. A proclamation by a mayor upon recommendation of a diversity and inclusion committee is far from a one-person, tyrannical, oppressive government move. The proclamation gave no special power to the LGBTQIA and Two-Spirit community and in no way lifted them up above any other group. It was an acknowledgement of them and their wonderful contributions to our community. I'm angered that this hate that I've seen has taken over the name Patriot. It dishonors the many LGBTQIA military members that are real patriots, that have fought for our country, and those in the military that are cisgender and straight allies of our LGBTQIA community. I stand here for my friends, my family, and my son, who have lived in fear of real oppression, who have feared losing their jobs, housing, family, and even the idea that they could lose their lives because of who they love and their authentic, God-given gender identity. Anyone saying they love and accept everyone and that opposes this proclamation doesn't love, it's just barely tolerating. The LGBTQIA and Two-Spirit community sees enough of this barely tolerating. Tolerance comes with ugly jeers and whispered and most times yelled nasty remarks as they walk into grocery stores and restaurants holding hands. Pride Month and Pride events allow a safe space for this community to finally be themselves and not feel shamed by others. I ask that you not only keep this proclamation in place, but you also proactively set this proclamation into your city council meeting agenda for every June in our future. A proclamation like this one is just one tiny step in the fight for complete equality for all Americans. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Hold the applause, please. Hold the applause. Thank you. Ma'am, please state your name and your address, please, and you're limited 5 minutes.
Okay. My name is Jana Carr, and I live at 18108 Barrington Drive in Providence in Edmond. My kids attend Edmond schools, and I work as a hairstylist in Edmond. My wife is a pediatrician. I have lived in Edmond for 36 years, was raised in Edmond schools, and was the first graduating class from Edmond North High School. I have raised my kids in Edmond for the last 21 years. I want to thank you, Mayor Davis, for the proclamation to recognize June as Pride Month in Edmond, and I would like to thank the council for their support. Thank you for realizing we want to feel safe talking about our family without thinking twice about what someone might say or do. I want to safely mention my wife without visible judgment or wondering if I am in danger for saying it. We want our LGBTQ plus friends and family, as well as ourselves, to not be denied housing, services, or health care simply because we are gay, lesbian, queer, non-binary, or trans. Thank you for realizing the plus sign does not stand for or include pedophilia and bestiality, as someone mentioned at the last meeting, but that our community is a broad and diverse umbrella. It includes many genders and identities of people who might not fall into those first 5 letters. Our community does not wish to cause harm to anyone or anything, and therefore does not condone pedophilia or bestiality. Thank you for realizing there are LGBTQ plus owned businesses and families in Edmond who spend money and contribute to Edmond's economy and deserve to be treated with the same respect and inclusion as Edmond's straight residents. We are from different backgrounds and religions, including Christianity. We have kids in schools. We are raising straight kids and LGBTQ plus kids. We style your hair. We sell your houses. We own gyms. We decorate your houses. We coach and teach. We save the lives of you and your children. We are in the pulpit on Sunday mornings, and we pastor your families. Thank you for realizing that being LGBTQ plus goes beyond our bedroom. Thank you for realizing that my wife and I don't want to discuss or advertise what goes on in our bedroom with anyone, but we do want to feel safe walking down the street in our own city, holding hands and showing affection towards each other without giving it a second thought, just like our straight friends and family. Thank you for realizing that celebrating and recognizing pride has nothing to do with our private sex lives and everything to do with celebrating how far we have come with equality, but also realizing how far we still have to go. If we were treated equally, pride would not or would never have been necessary. Thank you, Mayor, for helping my wife, my bisexual daughter, my straight sons who love their moms, and our LGBTQ plus friends and family feel a little more welcome and included in our own city, a city I've been a part of and contributed to for a very long time. Recognizing and accepting the LGBTQ plus residents of the city by recognizing pride is a huge step forward in the progress of Edmond. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address. Limited to 5 minutes.
There, 51 Boris Coffee Creek Drive, Edmond, Oklahoma. I'm just here once again to ask for the equality that everybody before me has spoken about. I'm a patriot. Yes, a patriot does not stand for a hatred and acceptance. I, too, have a family member. I have a daughter that goes by they, them. I don't hate my daughter. I don't hate any of our fellow Edmond residents. And I, like many other patriots, do not hate. The stuff that they have been saying about us is not the way we feel. It may be how they feel. As a matter of fact, I feel the same way they do. I feel oppressed. I feel beaten down. I feel rejected. I feel abused. Just for being a patriot, just for loving my country. I suffer the same things that they suffer. I suffer physical attacks.
Please.
I suffer verbal attacks. I saw a sign out there that said, inclusion is not tyranny. And that's true. But everybody should be included, not just one specific sector of society. Everybody. I have asked before for a Patriot Month. Could you be inclusive and give us a Patriot Month? Could you be inclusive and give anybody that comes behind and asks for a recognition month, could you give them a month? There are children that are constantly being picked on at school. They deserve inclusion and recognition. There are women that are battered and abused. They require inclusion and recognition. We all deserve the inclusion and recognition that you have given to the LGBTQ community. I'm asking you for that. I'm asking you for inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll introduce myself again. My name is Jessica Day. I attend the University of Central Oklahoma, and that is where I reside as well, 100 North University Avenue 73034. Let me take a breath first. Well, I would like to thank the council for having this proclamation. I think that Edmond has come a very long way, and I think everybody in this room can definitely agree that Edmond has come definitely a really long way. In terms of highlighting the issues that people actually have faced, I like to give an applause for the mental health issues that we're advocating for now, as well as the LGBTQIA issues that we're advocating for right now. One issue that I would like to discuss is that we have extremely very low rankings according to the HRC in terms of our discriminatory laws. And I'll pull that up right now. So the city of Edmond, our ranking out of 100 for our final score is 26 out of 100. And this is from the 2020 Municipal Equality Index scorecard. On non-discriminatory laws, we're extremely low, 0 out of 30. 30 points are available. In terms of municipality as an employer, 14 out of 28. Municipal service, 0 out of 12. Law enforcement, 12 out of 22. Leadership on LGBTQ plus equality, 0 out of 8. And I would like to say, in terms of the women that spoke before me, that this is actually an opportunity for us to build more inclusivity and equality. And this is data that is available online for everybody to access. In terms of oppression that you may face because of the intersectional identities that you do hold, I'd like to tell you that we all have intersectional identities, and we do deserve to have them highlighted. Patriot Day was July the 4th.
Please address the council. Please address the council, ma'am.
Patriot Day was July the 4th. Following that, I'd like to say thank you for listening, and I'd like anybody before me that spoke, I'd like to thank you for speaking, and anybody after me, I'd like to thank you for standing up and coming together in solidarity. My name is Jessica Dye, President of American Association of University Women.
Thank you very much. Please hold it. Please. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name,
My
address, 5 minutes limit, please.
My name is Ann Schmidt, 1401 Jamestown. I wasn't born in Edmond, but I have lived here a very long time. I've raised my children here. And I've watched a lot of the council meetings. You guys have probably all had emails from me. Go back to the masking. But the last meeting hurt me personally, and I felt like I don't even want to live in Edmond. I mean, Pride Month is national. It's not like it's just all of a sudden Edmond came up and said, hey, let's be happy for our gay people. I mean, it's very personal to me. I took it very personal, and I can't even imagine that we are in 2021, and there are people that wouldn't consider June Pride Month without even a proclamation for Edmond. Thank you all for that. It means everything to me, more than I can ever even tell you on a personal basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. Yes, ma'am.
I'm short. Sorry. Okay. My name is Issa Newberry. My address is 1604 Northwest 179th Terrace. Though I do live just west of the line, my kids all attend Edmond schools, and I work as a mental health professional, healthcare professional in the city of Edmond. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Davis for his proclamation of June as Pride Month in the city of Edmond. And I would like to thank the council for their support. The LGBTQ plus community is a marginalized community, and proclamations such as this one help our friends, neighbors, and loved ones in the LGBTQ plus community to feel safer in our city. As a mental health care provider, I can share that feelings of isolation and otherness lead to depression, anxiety, and higher rates of suicide in the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you for taking this step to use your voices to proclaim that all our neighbors belong here. My hope is that our city, I'm nervous. My hope is that our city can continue to move forward being a community where my friends, my family, and my neighbors can feel fully and truly safe. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Your name, address?
Jake Stother, 2509 Tifton Court, Edmond, Oklahoma. Council, I'm honored to address you today. I've lived in Edmond for 14 years, and I hope to live here for at least another 14. I'm saddened by what I have seen happening in Edmond. I'm also highly concerned about the partisan politics that have seeped into our city. As y'all know, there's no D or R on your name plaques. The thing I love about this city and about this state is we have nonpartisan city council elections. As I see citizens bring Republican and Democrat shirts into this chamber, I feel concerned. There's not a left council or a right council, there's an Edmond City Council. There's not a Democrat council or a Republican council, there's an Edmond City Council. We are Edmond, and we won't let political parties tear us apart. We're better than that. But even through all this divisiveness, I have hope, because even though we may have our differences, some members of the council may be Denny's people when IHOP is clearly the superior choice.
Clearly. Misguided youth.
I just want to thank you today for this, being here, doing what you do on a nonpartisan basis. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jake.
Yes, ma'am. Your name, address, please, and limited 5 minutes, please.
My name is Lou Sutherland, and I live at 50 North University Drive. Good evening, Mayor Davis and esteemed City Council members. I am here tonight in support of Mayor David's proclamation to declare the month of June Pride Month for the LGBT community. Before I begin, I would like to issue a trigger warning to my fellow LGBT plus individuals within the audience for mentions of suicide and violence against our own community. I would like to begin by giving a very brief history and some of the reasons why we celebrate Pride Month. In the 1930s, a practice known as convergent therapy started to emerge. While in one of these programs, mainly gay and lesbian individuals would endure electroshock therapy, physical and sexual assault, castration, and even lobotomies in order to help quell their impure sexual desires. In the 1960s, raids on gay bars were a common practice. Police would raid bars monthly and arrest as many individuals as possible for crimes no more than cross-dressing. In the 1980s, the AIDS epidemic hit. I'm sure many of you remember it. There was much confusion and much hysteria about this virus. This virus was not taken seriously. The only thing that was known about it was it disproportionately affected gay men. And this urged world leaders to put it on the lower priority list. This delay in funding and research caused the death of thousands of gay men, all because they just loved who they loved. In 2003 was when homosexuality was legalized in the United States. That was less than 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I could have been arrested in this state for loving the woman that I love. As you can see, so far, we have made many bounds towards the equality of LGBT plus people, but there's still much farther to go. As you've all seen recently, especially in these council meetings, homophobia and transphobia still run deep within our society. I and many other LGBT plus individuals face daily fears and discrimination that are not faced by our cisgender and heterosexual counterparts. I've been called, I would like you to please excuse my language for this, a faggot, an attack helicopter, queer, bull dyke, and many others. I, luckily, have family and friends that support me and love me. Others in my community are not so lucky. The suicide rate for LGBT youth is almost 5 times higher than that of heterosexual youth, and the number jumps to 8.4 times more likely that an individual comes from a non-accepting home. A study was done on transgender individuals. It found that 40% of them had attempted suicide in their lifetime. 92% of them were under 25. They might have graduated college. They wouldn't be able to hit retirement. They wouldn't be able to, I'm only 20. They had more than half their lives left, and they wanted to end them. To combat this, we need to step up as a community. They need to feel acceptance. They need to feel love, because many of them do not receive it at home. We need to accept them, and we need to show them our support by making Pride Month an official month in Edmond. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Your name, address, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
I'm Mike Sharp, 3708 Grandview Terrace in Edmond. About a week ago, or half, I sent each of you a map that I'd made on a proposed alternate location for the Edmond Veterans Memorial. And I just wanted to mention a few things about that proposal. I had an opportunity to attend the Veterans Memorial Advisory Committee meeting in June and then a CIP Advisory Board meeting later that month, and I got this idea from that. Became aware of some city property out around I-35 in Covell that seemed to be a good location that memorial could be located. Right off of I-35, I learned that the I-35 has been designated the Purple Heart Highway. And to me, there's going to be a lot of folks traveling that highway looking for veteran-type opportunities. It's easy access right off the highway. It's at a location where there's a 3-star hotel and conference center. The conference center, it brings back a memory of my dad, who he was in the quartermaster's unit in World War II over in England, where they hauled bombs back and forth to the airplanes. But his unit would meet after they got back from the war. About every 2 years, they'd go somewhere and have a little conference, And those are the kind of opportunities I think would be good to help boost Edmond's sales tax income, to have those kind of things going on. Also, this location, as you look at the property ownership around that, is going to be the future development with a lot of shops and those kind of places, which are going to be attractions for people as well. Another opportunity that is there with this memorial is it's going to be across the street from where the new Edmond East High School is going to be. And one of the concerns that I had with the design that was over in Bickman-Rudkin was that it didn't have a component in there where our young people could come and get a sense of service. Why veterans serve? Why do they do what they do? And to have this close to a high school would give an opportunity for educational type programs that we could have our young people being exposed to opportunities that are out there, career opportunities to serve in the military, as well as to understand and maybe be inspired by how veterans served this country in the past. And there's also the Edmond Safety Village out there, too, where elementary kids come, and they could also visit a memorial very easily as well. So I just leave with you that, you've got the map. Encourage you to review it. I know that the recommendation from the advisory committee is going to be coming up in 2 weeks, and so I just would like for you to be thinking about that, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp.
Appreciate it.
Yes, please.
My name is Christine Woodall, and I live at 3917 Jim Robinson Drive. Am I allowed to address two different issues in my 5 minutes, if I keep it in 5 minutes?
If you can get it in 5 minutes, you can.
Okay. I just wanted to just kind of be an ambassador for my accent and say that to thank you for passing this proclamation. And Oklahoma has a -1 in its equality profile. And so this is a very small step toward hopefully a lot more legislation, positive legislation. I also wanted to say that just April is Sexual Assault Survivors Month, so there is currently an entire month dedicated to that, just to address a previous comment. The other thing I wanted to discuss is I want to talk about trees. The hippie, sorry. So I know that that part of this area that I'm going to talk about is not in the Edmond jurisdiction per se, but it is the entrance of Edmond, the exchange, the Broadway Extension and Kelly interchange. Whenever you come into Edmond, there's that interchange there that it just always is completely full of trash and overgrown, and it's really unfortunate because the design itself is really nice, it's really pretty. And so I just was wondering if there was a way that we could work maybe with the city or with an organization like Up With Trees or something to maybe beautify that area, and then also maybe try to work with the city to beautify places like 15th and Boulevard and 33rd and Boulevard. Those places have looked kind of barren in that exact way for since I've lived here. And so I didn't know if there was any initiatives coming up to do some more beautification or anything. Whenever you come into Edmond, it's just so ugly, I'm sorry, it is. It's so ugly. And we have this little place here, and you could plant trees and put natural rock, and you could plant, things perennials that you only have to plant one time, natural grasses, and let it overtake it. And even overtaken, natural grass is really pretty. And so that's all.
Thank you. We'll pass your comments on to Ryan Ochsner, who's our beautification tree arborist person. Thank you. Yes, sir. Name?
My name is Sam Kearney. Address is 3505 Meadow Lane. I want to thank you for the opportunity to use free speech to share ideas today. You are leaders in our community, and some of the key traits about leadership are wisdom, vision, and courage, whether you're in politics or military or business. Wisdom, vision, and courage are key for leadership. Regarding the Veterans Memorial at Beck-and-Rudkin Park, I think the process was flawed in the beginning back in 2018. As has been pointed out previously at the council, the survey, most respondents didn't know where Beck-and-Rudkin Park was and never had visited. Signs were never put up. Signs to Go sells them for $20 each. The city could have bought 5 signs, put them at the 5 different entrances. It would have cost $100. The meetings were held during a pandemic, social distancing time. We were all thinking about survival at the time, not thinking about city meetings. On May 4th of this year, I got a letter announcing the plan. It was not an open plan. This was a predetermined plan. One of the people in our group has said that the city wanted to have a new pavilion at this park for many years and steered the Veterans Committee to Beckham-Rudkin Park to get the veterans to help pay for a new pavilion and add restrooms. Our vets deserve better than this. They need a place of honor, dignity, and reverence, not skateboards, bikes, rollerblades, and birthday parties at a public park pavilion. Their budget is $3.5 million, and they deserve more than a sidewalk, granite slabs, a berm, and marching maple trees. I met Matthew. He is an American war hero, and he is a great guy. We've talked many times. In May, we talked about the design, and I told him it was very bland, common, and dull, and not special. He told me his first choice was out at the cliffs at Lake Arcadia. Now that is a beautiful, magnificent, special, inspiring sight. I called Senator Inhofe's office and spoke to staff and asked them about permission to use Corps land and get funding in Biden's infrastructure bill. They wanted to meet for coffee and go visit the site. I excitedly emailed Natalie and Matthew and was turned down, rejected. They did not want to discuss this. Another site in the best location is possibly, as Mike mentioned, Covell and I-35 on city land. I can imagine a giant granite pedestal there with a 30 to 40-foot bronze eagle with outstretched wings looking over I-35 and the Purple Heart Trail, with America, Oklahoma, and Edmond flags flying against the blue sky, lights shining up at night, thousands of cars seeing this daily, pulling off to visit the memorial and the history of Edmond and wars and service. Then going across the street to Brahms, Qdoba, Starbucks to spend money and add sales tax revenue to Edmond, and maybe stay the night at the hotel, and maybe go into downtown and eat dinner, and maybe have veterans conventions at that convenient location at our convention center. Mayor Davis, a few weeks ago, you said nothing is set in stone. Councilmember Peterson, you also said nothing is set in stone. We need to honor our veterans with a captivating and inspiring memorial that will also benefit the city. You 5 are in power. Please do not be a rubber stamp. You are our leaders making decisions for our future. I ask you to change the location of the memorial, reevaluate this situation. Let's do this the right way and demonstrate wisdom, vision, and courage as great leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kearney.
Hi there. My name is Justin Swissler, 7425 Sunset Sail Avenue. I'm here to talk about trees. 2 weeks ago, I introduced myself to this chamber as a climate activist hoping to make a major impact in the community in which I live. I painted a future where within the next 9 to 15 years, we can expect major complications to our daily lives as we contend with an unrelenting dust storm from unmitigated topsoil erosion. These warnings came with hope that we would begin to see the errors in our ways and start working towards a lasting solution. Hope that our city government will see the light, stop focusing on the noise, and take steps in addressing the real problems we face. However, if you've been paying attention to the patterns of the universe, it seems God sees right through the council's inaction. In these last 2 weeks since I spoke initially, we've had an incredible 7.3 inches of rain fall in Edmond. So far this year, we've seen over 29.3 inches of rain. Prior to 2019, our yearly average was 38 inches, meaning we have already seen over 77% of the expected rain for this year, despite 172 days remaining for 2021. Using simple math, we are on pace to seeing another 28 inches of rain, bringing Edmond, Oklahoma to a staggering 57.3 inches of rain total for the year. For comparison, Florida averages 54.5 per year. Climate change is real, and it is here. Increased rainfall will continue to wash out what little topsoil we have in areas that lack trees, established grasses, and shrubs. Lake Arcadia simply cannot keep up with the inbound deluge of rainwater, causing the Spring Creek Trail to be closed yet again this weekend due to being completely submerged underwater. 2 weeks ago, this same trail was to be dug out as a thick layer of red dirt from erosion covered the trail following that rain event. It is high time we stop with the delusion and move with tangible, transformative action today. In today's meeting, an expenditure total of $26,507,496 was discussed and approved by the council. Of this grand sum, 86% is being spent on a single golf course, and 8% on an enhanced traffic system. While admirable that the council finally took its first steps today, less than 1% of the spend is going towards addressing a mental health crisis in this country where 1 in 5 Oklahomans suffer from some form of debilitating mental illness. Sadly, not even $1 was being allocated towards addressing climate change. Why not? Because my time is limited, I will restate the 3 policy proposals I ask the council to seriously consider as we need action. Number 1, a ban on commercial tilling within city limits. The more we till, the more topsoil is blown into the wind, causing ecological collapse within pockets of the locale. Pockets of collapsed ecosystem can merge in the form of desertification in the coming years. We can avoid that future with this policy proposal. Number 2, and this is about the trees. The city of Edmond needs to join the Urban Forestry Commission in funding an initiative to plant 100,000 trees, 1 for each citizen, within city limits by end of year ideally, but it seems like we'll have to wait a little longer, to offset the major ecological damage caused by constructing single-family home developments around town. After meeting with Bob Otey of Deep Fork Tree Farm in Arcadia today, a favorable wholesale price has been extended to the city if the council decides to act upon it. Number 3, an eco-task force is created with all council members and key citizens within the community to enlighten members of the city government on the scope of the problem and provide tangible action plans that address the crisis directly. This task force can be the basis of a unifying, productive movement that provides the city with the labor required to tackle proposed policy number 2. Kicking the can down the road for my generation to solve simply is not an option, as there is not enough time. Today must be the day we finally stop focusing on golf courses and traffic lights. God is keenly watching, and he will send more storms like the one we saw this weekend if we continue to ignore the problem. With love from an open heart, not hate from a closed mind, I thank the council the opportunity to speak today and pray that my words resonate.
Thank you, sir.
Council members and Mayor Davis, my name is Trina Bose North, and I live at 19401 Stubblefield Lane in Edmond. And I want to thank you for the proclamation that you made to declare June Pride Month. I am a United Methodist clergy. I serve Crown Heights United Methodist Church, and we are a church that has made a proclamation as well. We voted on and made the statement that all are welcome in our church. And then we hung a rainbow sign on the outside of our church, and you wouldn't believe the people who have come in our church, hungry for acceptance and love and just a safe place to be them. if you'll allow me to tell a story about my church. On the day we celebrated our vote to become reconciling, that's Methodist language, we sang a song in church. We actually had a soloist sing, a gay man sing the song. It's a beautiful song, and the refrain says, "I am a child of God." And it repeats it a couple times. And by the time he said those words twice, he was in tears. I'm a child of God. Brought a grown man to tears because we live in a culture that doesn't make people feel welcomed and loved and appreciated and full. And so, my church finds it important to make proclamations saying that you are a child of God, you are worthy, you are important, we are proud. And so I just stand here to say thank you. It matters what you all did in June. There are people who are hungry for the words that you all spoke. And I want you to know that I couldn't be more proud of what you did. And I also support the person who said, let's make every June Pride Month for the people who need it most in our city.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Hi, I'm Paula Burks. I live at 4501 Karen Drive. And I am proud to be here on this day because I support what Trina just said. I'm a Methodist too, but I'm here to tell you about something that happened today. I'm Paula Burks. My neighbor and I led the drive to get the signature petitions to get a special ballot zoning question that's going to be on the ballot October 12th about I-35 and Memorial, about 300 apartments planned there. After the zoning or planning commission meeting where there was overwhelming objection about that 300 apartments, they still passed it on through unanimously, as you all know, to the city council, and then you all passed it with one dissenting vote. So then we did do petitions for a referendum that will be on the October 12th ballot. Okay, so what happened today, and I thought it was important to come ahead and do this, even though I hate doing this, like other people said. Today, I heard from two people that Case and Associates, which is the developer for these apartments. Well, let me just back up and say that we turned in 4,320 signatures, and the required amount of signatures was 2712. Now, I don't know how many were officially thrown out because they weren't Edmond voters or they weren't within city limits, but that is far above the 2712 minimum. So we're all going forward, and I know you all are, your discussions, you're planning on being on the ballot too. But just today, I learned that two people have been called by Case and Associates, and I just want to bring this to your attention, to say, now, did you mean to sign that petition to roll back the zoning at I-35 and Memorial, or did you really mean to sign the Haver petition? Because, as you know, there's another petition for land abutting Haver Park, and they also have a referendum to roll back the zoning there because overwhelmingly citizens didn't want PUD there. So I just don't think that, I think that's far overreach. The one woman happened to be the notary over on the Haver campaign, and we worked side by side. So she called me, and she said, I don't know how they got my phone number because, as you know, when you're signing that petition, there's no phone number. It's your name, your address, and your birth date and month. So, and not that that's not within Case and Associates' rights, but I just want I want to say for the record, this is overreach. This is our civic right to have a referendum. We have met and exceeded the count to be on the ballot. Please don't let anything block that. Please be on the side of citizen rights and help us and all that sweat equity that we did for weeks. Now, we did join forces, the Haver initiative and ours, because it made sense. But we were very clear about we have two petitions here This one's for this. This one's for this. We even had different colored T-shirts on if we were at the same event. So please, please, don't work against your citizens. Work for us and give us the rights that we deserve.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Give your name, address, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Sampley, Ward 3, Cheyenne Ridge neighborhood, 3709 Smoky Hollow Road. And first, I want to thank all of you for your support of mental health issues, LGBTQIA issues, and I love the high-density living in already developed areas. Yay. So I am here to ask the council for 2 considerations. The first is the creation of a Friends of Bickham-Rudkin Park task force whose goals would be fundraising for park amenities such as plumbed restrooms, an updated pavilion, or an update to the current pavilion, a bit of a facelift that fits within the natural beauty of the park, focus on the unique educational aspects already in place, and preserving the natural components of the park that so many already enjoy, such as foraging for blackberries, service berries, sand plums, persimmons, and sumac lemonade, and I'm sure there are plenty of others that I don't even know about. The second thing that I'm asking is that I would respectfully ask the council to consider that public record is not the same thing as public notice. I request that any major change proposed to the use of a public space be handled just like zoning changes, with large signs set up allowing all interested parties the opportunity to voice their approval or concerns. This would save untold heartache for all stakeholders in the future. And we know that our marketing department can do fabulous things with signage and symbols and make them look aesthetically pleasing while also notifying the public that this is something we're proposing to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Name.
Don't look now, but there's nobody behind me. So, my name is Taylor Hildenbrand. I live at 631 Pepperdine Avenue, which is in Ward 3. The views I'm about to share with you are my own only. They don't reflect any member or any board that I may be on as part of the city. And I want to talk to you about the Veterans Memorial Advisory Committee and also the project. I stand here today grieved because I think the efforts on your part to make the veterans in this city heard and valued is amazing. And I think what started out as a noble endeavor, there's been a handful of concerned residents who kind of traced back this project, and honestly, it's resulted in unnecessary sacrifice. So I wanted to bring that to your attention today with a recommendation and also just my perspective. So for the last, like I said, 60-plus days, I've been listening to the chair of the VFW, the commander, I apologize if I'm getting that title wrong, it's of the American Legion Post here in Edmond, as well as several members of VMAC, and people who are just out picking blackberries. So it's like I said, I'm grieved primarily because the group that's sacrificing here are the veterans. It's not the location they want. It's not the design that they necessarily liked. And what I intend to communicate to you is that they will represent to you that it's good and that it's acceptable. But as I've unpacked the layers of what they're saying, they've spent their career sacrificing. Their goal is to make a $0 line item for you in the budget for this memorial. I think that's ridiculous. I think it should be $24 million like the awesome golf course. I think that as the city of Edmond, we should put our foot down and say, you've sacrificed your career and in some cases your life for us. There's a 25-square-foot memorial that was donated by a private individual at Stevenson Park and has to be relocated. So I understand that there needs to be a Veterans Memorial somewhere in Edmond. But the third option, according to the Veterans Memorial Advisory Task Force, with no opportunity for phase 2, 3, or 4, which they all want but they can't get, very boisterous disagreement from the neighborhood. It just seems like there's compromise instead of collaboration. It seems like the mission that they were tasked with, they've performed dutifully, and they will present to you what they believe. But honestly, in my heart, I feel like they're not happy with it. Everyone is okay and accepts it. But it's to no cost, no additional cost to the city. And I feel like a Veterans Memorial should be, as Mike and Sam pointed out, highly visible. I mean, a 40-foot memorial would be great. They just reduced the project by over 50% to make us happy. That isn't necessarily what we wanted. We wanted them to have everything they want without compromising anything. And so my recommendation to the board this afternoon, night, I feel like the lady on Zootopia, it's night, so would be to reject their site proposal and instead give them an unlimited budget with any location they want without any restriction that it has to be on city land. I feel that while it was well-intentioned for it to be on city land, it's given them an unnecessary box, and they've marched according to those orders unnecessarily. I think it would be a gift from the city to the veterans that they're not asking for, because they're actually asking for a $0 line item on your budget. I think we should say, heck no. We want a 60-acre park with the names of every person who died as an Edmond resident, protecting our freedom to say, heck yeah, you deserve a prominent display on Covell and I-35, not an afterthought, with all respect to the people who put it in the park. But 33rd and Boulevard is not what you would call a premier destination. It doesn't increase tourism to downtown Edmond, and it certainly doesn't achieve the other strategic objectives that the city has. 4 minutes and 4 seconds down. But thank you all for your time.
Mayor, City Council, my name's Lydia Lee. I live on Walnut Cove here in Edmond. I had a long speech prepared, a statement prepared, but all of the speakers tonight that have spoken in favor of the proclamation that you made in June have said it so much better than I can. I do want to point out that at the last meeting, someone stood up in front of you and said less than 20% of the Edmond residents supported that proclamation. And we are here tonight to let you know that that is not correct.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Dina Edwards. Can you hear me? 1905 Thunderbird Boulevard, Edmond. I can't say anything better than anyone else can, but I didn't feel like the night could end without representing Edmond Pride and telling you guys thank you. I am on the board of Edmond Pride. We just incorporated our own nonprofit this year, Rightfully Proud Edmond, and one of our primary goals is education. So I think it has been pretty clear over the last month that there's still a lot of education that needs to happen in the community in regards to LGBTQ issues. I would love to partner with the Diversity Committee and see if there's a way that we can perhaps work together on that. So anyway, thank you. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
I don't think we have anybody else in the overflow that I know of that wants to speak there.
Okay.
I don't know anybody else wants to speak.
Is there any?
So we have somebody else.
Please state your name, address, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayor Davis and members of the City Council. I can see that there's a lot of emotion tonight. I still have the opinion that the logic is not there to submit such a proclamation. And it's a matter of logic that you don't make a proclamation for the way. Well, you know what my statement is, Josh. You just don't make a proclamation for the way these things happen. And I'm still of that opinion. So that's my comments.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you give us your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ed Moore, 2711 Ash Creek Drive. Josh Moore is my ward councilman.
Thank you very much. Very good. Okay, one more.
Figured I'd save the best for last. My name is Catherine Toity, and I am a resident of the city of Edmond. I live at 2005 Edgewood Drive. I have lived in multiple places in Edmond, mostly because I have children, and this is the safest place in Oklahoma to raise kids and put them in a great place to get an education. And in that time frame, I'm really happy with how we've progressed. And of course, as everybody has stated, we still have a lot more to do. But I do want to say thank you and ask that you continue on with June 22, 23, 24, and on, just continuing to acknowledge that, because baby steps are baby steps, but at least we're progressing forward. Have a great evening. Thank you. Continue to do the amazing things you do, but I'm more than sure I'll be back.
Thank you very much, ma'am. All right, seeing no one else walk towards the podium.